Hey everybody, welcome back to Toolbox Tuesday, the first segment of 2025, episode 4 technically. So this week we're going to talk about something a little bit different. This week I want to talk about one of the most crucial tools that you can have in your toolbox, a multimeter. So I know the saying on this channel goes, you buy what you can afford. This is going to be one of the few exceptions that I don't think anybody should ever skimp on, is a good multimeter, because it can make or it can break your diagnostics. So what we have here is the Mac Tools multimeter. This is a very good multimeter. I'm going to say it is a little pricey. They are about $400 for this meter. Now, this isn't the only manufacturer of meters. You can go with a Klein meter. You can go with there's 100 different brands. Snap-on makes one. Matco makes multimeters. I mean, everybody makes a multimeter. But buying a cheap multimeter from something like Harbor Freight, and I'm going to bash Harbor Freight for a minute, but buying a cheap multimeter can be one of the worst things you do for your electrical diagnostics, just because they're not reliable, they're not accurate. This multimeter particularly does AC and DC voltage, so you've got two different plugins. You've got your common ground. You can do all your other AC DC checks. This does ohms, this does current, everything that you need to do. But when you go shopping for a multimeter, look at price, do some shopping. You know, you can get a good multimeter for $100. You can get a really good multimeter up into the $1,000 range. But when you're picking a multimeter, you need to definitely look at your leads. So right here, these are the leads that come with the Mac Tools one. You've got two probes, your ground and your hot essentially, but they've got very small needle points and, you know, decent length to them. They're not very long. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the lead that comes with Mac Tools multimeter, so I went out and bought a different option. These are 10-foot leads, and the difference between this lead and the one that comes with the meter is your needle length. These are a little bit more universal just because they fit a different type of adapter on them. If I have one in here, I do. So these leads are good with these alligator clips on them because they go on the meter lead, they screw on, and they tighten down to give you good contact. These are great for doing things like alternators, when you want to check alternator output or looking for drops in your alternator at different RPM speeds, blah 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 blah. But when you go and buy a multimeter, do yourself a favor, price shop, buy a good multimeter, get yourself a couple different lead lengths to do different things so you can reach further. If you need to sit in the vehicle, you can get your longer leads up and over like a mirror. You can get it close to you while you're sitting in the vehicle. Short leads are really good for kind of an everyday thing, but don't skip out on a multimeter. If you get false readings, you're going to have false diagnostics, or you're going to have a loaded diagnostic where you're shotgunning a part when we shouldn't be shotgunning. A cheap multimeter is going to let you down 100% of the time. If we're checking for resistance, you know, a good multimeter versus a cheap multimeter, you could put them on the same circuit or in the same plug checking resistance, and you're probably going to get two different readings, and you're obviously going to get a better reading with a better multimeter and a little bit more expensive multimeter. But hope everybody enjoyed this segment, the first of 2025. So again, when you shop for multimeters, find yourself a meter in a little bit higher price range versus a cheap multimeter. And hopefully this helps you out with your diagnostics. Learn how to use one, learn how to use it properly. There's plenty of YouTube videos. This model in particular is the EM721 from Mac Tools. This one comes with an information booklet and a CD on how to use this multimeter properly and how to read this multimeter. So hope everybody enjoyed this. Stick around. We'll see you next Tuesday.